Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about India's Rice Fortification Plan, what the government of India envisages for the fortification of the rice, what are the successes and what are the challenges that we are facing in this particular issue. So first of all, the context in which we are discussing today's issues is because recently the central government have released a SOP, that is the standard operating procedure for the smooth implementation of the rice fortification distribution scheme, which was launched first in year 2019. Now, with respect to that, a report was published on May 16, where a multidisciplinary team of experts and activists, they have requested the Jharkhand government to stop the supply of fortified rice. The reason given was that the rice was leading to adverse effects on the health of tribal population of the state of Jharkhand. So, why this particular issue arises and why and what kind of health issue arises due to consumption of fortified rice, we'll discuss in few minutes. But before that, also last month the union government have given its nod to distribute the fortified rice under various government schemes to address mainly the issues of malnutrition, anemia and the micronutrient deficiency, which a very large segment of India's population is currently facing. So before understanding about the nitty-gritties of fortification, let us first try to understand that what does basically the term fortification refers to. So as per the definition given by FSSAI, that is Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, it defines fortification as any addition of key vitamins and minerals, for example iron, zinc, vitamins A and D, to staple food items such as rice, wheat, oil, milk and salt can be categorized as fortification. Now, what is the main objective of fortification? So FSSAI says here the objective of fortification is mainly to improve the nutritional value of staple foods by adding of these micronutrients to provide public health benefit to the large populace, at the same time ensuring that the health risk to this population is very minimal due to the fortification. But at the same time, if you look at the overall impact of fortification, FSSAI says that even after fortification, the staple food or the eating pattern of or food habit of people will not have to undergo any kind of changes. Not even the characteristic of food such as the aroma, texture or taste will be changed. So overall, the consumption of this fortified food will be very similar in terms of taste, texture and aroma as compared to the unfortified staple foods. So obviously the question that comes to mind is that why government of India is focusing on fortification of the food items? Why do we have the need for fortification? So the need for fortification we can understand if we take a glance at the National Family Health Survey report that was published, the 5th report that was published for interval of year between 2019 to 2021. So what basically this report says, the key takeaways of this report, that more than 90% of the children in our country who are in the age group of 6 months and 23 months, they do not get adequately nutritious diets. There are a lot of nutrition that is missing in their diet and that causes issues as they grow up more and more. The second data is pertaining to age group of children who are between 6 months to 5 years. Here in this particular age group, it is found that more than 65% of children are suffering from anemia. The iron anemia can be either due to deficiency of vitamin B or deficiency of the iron. Similarly, if not only look at the children, even at the adult population of India, the people who are in the age group of 5 to 49 years, around 25% of men are anemic, while in the same age group, almost 57%, that is more than half of India's women in the age group of 5 to 49 years are anemic. So this is a very big number, and this is also something that we should be very concerned about, because a woman who is suffering from anemia, obviously when she will have a child, the child will also have problems of anemia and will not be able to have adequate growth in both mental as well as physical sense. So considering all these important data that we have seen, there is an urgent need in the country to ensure about the not only providing food but also providing food with a very balanced nutrition. Overall, the need from fortification also arises broadly because a large part of India's population is suffering from malnutrition, and hidden hunger. What is hidden hunger? Hidden hunger is when a person is able to get sufficient amount of food to quench his hunger, but at the same time he or she is not getting sufficient amount of micronutrients which is required on a daily basis for the body. So that is called as hidden hunger. A person cannot feel hungry, but at the same time due to micro deficiency his body or his or her body is actually hungry. So that is hidden hunger. And to address the issues of malnutrition and hidden hunger at large scale, the government has ensured that a strategy of food fortification is taken. Food fortification actually is one of the strategies that can be taken to ensure the address the problem of malnutrition and hunger. Other strategies can be focusing upon the diversification of diets or focusing upon the providing food supplements to the population. Now question comes that why fortification of rice? We have already discussed that why the fortification of food is required in India because of the problems of malnutrition and hidden hunger, but why rice has been emphasized upon by government to be fortified. So this we can understand from the statement given by the Union Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare that they have published in their report that India is one of the leading producers of rice in the world, and last year itself India has produced almost 128 million tons of rice. At the same time, if you look at the report given by FSSAI, it says that around 65% of India's population consume rice on a daily basis, and that is why if you look at the per capita rice consumption, it goes as high as 6.8 kg per month. So considering the importance of rice in our daily life, the fortification of rice can ensure the supply of essential micronutrients and vitamin to a large population or large segment of our population. Also, the FSSI believes that the fortification of rice becomes very important because rice is a major source of carbohydrate. However, in terms of micronutrients, it becomes very low. Now, why rice have very low micronutrients? It has to do with the process that rice has to go before it arrives in our home, is that milling and polishing. So as per the expert, it is believed that during the process of milling of rice, since a large part of the bran and husk is removed, almost 80% of the fat and the micronutrients are removed in this process. While if you talk about the polishing process, during this particular process, almost 70 to 80% of the vitamins like vitamin B, B1, B2, vitamin D, all these things are removed in this process. So after that, when the rice is finally packed in the bag and comes to our home, we are getting rice just rich in carbohydrate but very low in micronutrients, and that is what this is the problem which the fortification is trying to address. And what does FSSI says? That the fortification will lead to re-addition of all the lost micronutrients in the rice. Along with that, some additional supplements like iron, zinc and folic acid along with few other vitamins can also be added in this process to further improve the nutritional value of a diet. Now, obviously we discussed about the rice fortification process. So how does this process occur? So overall, the fortification can be done via three processes. The first process is called as the coating method, the second method is called as dusting method, and third method is called as extrusion method. So let us try to understand about each of these methods one by one. In the coating method, the nutrient that has to be added in the staple food, for example rice here, is added to the food grain after mixing with substances like wax or gum. After this micronutrients is mixed to the wax or gum, the mixture is then sprayed upon and blended with the polished rice in the ratio of 1:100. What happens in dusting method? In dusting method, micronutrients is in the form of fine particles. They are blended with the bulk rice. And as per FSSI, dusting makes use of actually electrostatic forces which attracts, and the surfaces of rice and micronutrients due to these electrostatic forces attract each other and then bind with each other. However, what is important here is the method of extrusion, because this is the most primary fortification process, at least that is being used in India. The rice that is used, that actually we get after process of extrusion, its shelf life is at least 12 months. So let us try to understand about details of extrusion process in more detail, because this is the primary fortification process. So in this process, what happens? First of all, the rice after milling is converted into fine powder and we get a rice flour. After this rice flour is then mixed with a pre-mixture, that is where all the micronutrients are added, for example iron, B12, vitamin B12 and folic acid. After this addition of rice flour and premix, it is then sent through an extruder. After coming out of an extruder, the rice is produced in the form of small kernels which resembles very closely to the grain of rice, and these kernels are in abbreviated form referred as FRK. After these kernels are produced, then they go under the process of drying, cooling. Finally, they are stored and then packaged and then sent to the end consumer. However, the government has recently come up with a new rice fortification scheme. So, what does this new rice fortification scheme is all about? So, first of all, as per this particular scheme, the Prime Minister has said that the fortified rice will be supplied in a phased manner by year 2024. So, as per this scheme, the Prime Minister have said that the fortified rice will be supplied in a phased manner by 2024 under all the important or major schemes of Government of India. What are the major schemes? The major schemes are NFHS, then ICDS, that is Integrated Child Development Service, then PM Poshan Abhiyan, which was earlier known as Midday Meal Scheme, as well as any other scheme through which the staple diet is supplied to the consumers. The second provision of this new scheme is that whole cost of rice fortification, which comes out to be somewhere around rupees 2700 crore per annum, will be borne by the central government and will be added in the form of food subsidy bill. The third provision, which is very important from the perspective of consumers, is that fortified rice, after being packed into the bags, there will be necessarily an logo called as plus F logo, which will be in blue color, as you can see from here, will be printed on these bags. Apart from that, there will also be a tagline on this bag, where it will be written that fortified with iron, folic acid, and vitamin B1. So the addition of this logo and the writing of this tagline will help consumer to ensure that whatever their rice or whatever packet of rice they are getting is whether it is fortified rice or unfortified rice. However, these are all about the good things about rice fortification. Now, problems, what is the main problem and why activists in certain areas are against the rice fortification process? So let us try to understand about this in detail. So first of all, recently in the state of Jharkhand, several health activists have asked the government of Jharkhand to prevent fortified rice from reaching into tribal hands. Now, why it is so? The reason behind is said that fortified rice consumption can lead to the overload of iron in the body, and the overload of iron can cause serious health issues in the tribal population. The second issue is also because many places are where the rice is being supplied by the public distribution system without taking the consent of beneficiary. What does it mean? It basically means that the beneficiary who are getting this fortified rice, they are not getting the right of choice that whether they want to get access or whether they want to consume fortified rice or unfortified rice. Then the third problem, which basically is associated with the tribal areas of Jharkhand, is that many tribals of Jharkhand, not only Jharkhand but even in other states as well, are suffering from diseases like sickle cell anemia and thalassemia. So what happens in diseases is there is an excess of iron in the body, and if already there is an excess of iron in the body, and if some tribal is consuming, the people are consuming iron fortified rice, this will lead to the first problem that we are discussing, is overload of iron. So instead of ensuring that one fits all approach is used by the government in rice fortification or any kind of fortification, the government should ensure that they should take consideration and take cognizance of the health problems and the health issues of the India's population in different pockets of country. So these are the few issues. Apart from that, there are some other issues as well. The first such issue is that many places we have seen the evidences or instances where the people are throwing away the fortified rice they are getting through PDS system. Why they are throwing away this fortified rice? Because this fortified rice or the FRK that discuss the kernel that is produced by extrusion method resembles very close like plastic, and that is why I think that they are getting plastic rice that is mixed with regular rice. So they are throwing away the whole rice. This is not only at the household level, but even we have seen such instances where the plastic rice or this fortified rice is being thrown away by the Anganwadi workers or the cook who cook food at the for the midday meal scheme of the schools. Second problem is that consumption of such fortified rice has caused disruption to the food cultures and systems, especially in the tribal belt. And third problem is that many experts believe that the added nutrients whatever fortification or nutrients, micronutrients we have added by fortification, they appear to be getting leached. That means they are getting removed after the cooking and boiling of the rice. So the end result of fortifications is not that much higher or not that much significant as is believed to be by the government. So what can be the way forward to tackle all these issues? So way forward is, first of all, instead of over relying on the rice fortification to address the issues of malnutrition and hidden hunger, government should try to promote the diet diversity. Diet diversity means instead of focusing on just consumption of cereal crops, government should try to create awareness among the population of society, among the population of India, that they should also add millets, pulses and eggs. And this should also be added in the midday meal scheme and the public distribution system of the government. Second way forward can be understood from the statement given by the Deputy Director of National Institute of Nutrition, where she had clearly stated that the evidence that supports the fortification are very, very inconclusive and inadequate in nature. And that is why instead of over relying on rice fortification or any kind of fortification, government should try to first look at the evidences and then take decision accordingly. And third point is that many people are even lacking or do not have adequate awareness about the benefits of fortification, and that is why the end result of fortification is not that much higher as government expected. So at the same time, government should try to address this problem of lack of awareness and create more awareness, especially among the marginalized and rural areas of India. So by doing all these efforts or by taking all these steps, we can ensure that the issues of malnutrition and the hidden hunger in a large section of India's society can be addressed. Thank you very much.